Hi guys!
Hey guys, how you doing? If you haven't noticed, obviously Shay's back from her trip. How was that?
So glad to be back home.
What do you think about Yucatan?
It was horrible.
There you go.
There were a lot of dying dogs everywhere, and it was very depressing.
Okay, I didn't heard about that.
It was very...
She went on a 5-day cruise into the Gulf of Mexico, if you're not familiar with our channel. If you are new to our channel, thank you, and I appreciate you checking this out. This video is obviously titled Which Jeep Should I Buy? So we're going to go over some very popular models today and kind of give you our experiences and kind of help you maybe guide you towards what model you should go after. There are a couple variants out there that we're not going to go over today. So if you have any questions about other vehicles or any questions about the vehicles that we're going to go over, just let me know and hopefully we'll be able to help you out.
The only Jeep we have not had is the LJ.
Out of the ones that we're going to mention, yes, absolutely.
Well,
yeah. We haven't had like an old school Willys G.I. Joe Jeep yet.
Oh, well, not many people have those.
No. But that is in the future. So
hopefully.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned for that. That'll be a fun build. If you're new to the channel, thank you. I appreciate it. If you like this video, like it. If you're interested in it, please subscribe for more. We have videos almost as regularly as possible, and they do tie into each other now, which is great. I'm not going to do this in a specific order except for the fact of Jeep model years and kind of hope that'll help you guys out, not in the models that we had. Our first Jeep was a YJ, which was great, but I'm going to start with a CJs, the CJ5 and the CJ7s. The CJ5 and the CJ7s are very similar Jeeps. You can get into technicalities of that to make them difficult, but basically it's very similar in the years and whatnot. The CJ5 is a little bit more compact, and it has the door frame that sits like this versus the CJ5s, which is a more square, or CJ7s, which is a bit more square and a little bit longer. So out of those two, the thing I didn't like about our CJ5 though was it was so compact. It was super small. The wheelbase is mainly what I'm talking about. A very short wheelbase, and it also had a very narrow track. So Jeep got a lot of its reputation of flipping over because they were so narrow back then, and they'd flip over a lot more easily than they do now.
Well, another reason I don't think you really like the CJ was because we had just gotten rid of our white JKU, and he was trying to make it work, like trying to fill that little hole in his heart where that JKU was, and it wasn't working. So
yeah,
kind of tainted the CJ for us.
Which goes into my next point. What I was trying to do was build a rock crawler out of it, and I went towards that version, but it wasn't working out for what I wanted. So after I set it up, we sold it from there. It's still a good rock crawler. It just wasn't what I was looking at doing with it personally. That's one thing I do want to talk about those. If you are looking for a classic or one that'll go up in value or maintain its value, the CJ5 or CJ7 is a great place to start because those are considered basically the classic variants of the Jeeps or any other models, but those are like the iconic classic versions of CJ5 and CJ7. So if you get your hands on one of those and you want to restore it or just have something just more classic look, you know, they have different engine variants and everything like that also, so that's the place to go. You can make them into rock crawlers and everything. You'd probably have to upgrade your engine and the drivetrain and everything like that too, and do some more modifications. Those are leaf spring based Jeeps. Depending on what you want to do with it, those are perfect for you resto guys, your antique classic restorers, or wanting to have something that you can just garage queen and go up in value. Not that many people would garage queen them anyway, I don't think. People like to rock their rigs. Moving up from there, move into the YJs, the one with the square headlights. These are great entry-level Jeeps, or just for anybody who likes that look. We have a place in our heart for YJs because that was my first Jeep, and so I love our first Jeep, so I like the square headlights. They are still leaf springs, and before 1992, I believe they were carbureted. So if you find one 92, 95, those are fuel injected, which is great. These came in the 4-cylinder and the 6-cylinder version. If you can find you a 6-cylinder, go with the 4.0 just because they're bomb-proof and they last forever. The 2.5 is also a good engine, but they're a little bit less money. If resale is a concern to you buying into it, that's a great place to get started. A lot of people do body lifts on these, so watch out for that if you are interested in lifting your Jeep. It's real easy to do shackle lifts and leaf spring lifts, so if you do find yourself looking at a Jeep a YJ with a 4-inch, I don't even think they make that, but a 3-inch or taller body lift, swap that out and get you a basic lift. It's so inexpensive, it's worth doing. Plus it just handles a lot better.
Body lift doesn't do anything but lift the
body up. So I mean, it gives you some clearance and stuff, but everyone's got their own opinions. We just prefer not to body lift anything if we can help it. So that's a great option for anyone looking to get into Jeeps. It's kind of like the C4s of the Corvettes, so just know if you buy a square headlight Jeep, people are gonna say stuff, but they're great rigs, so don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Those do come in automatics and standard too, so preference is up to you. Moving up from there, you go into the TJs and the LJs. She had a TJ, it was a great rig. I think she didn't like it because she had to wear heels and dress up to work, so she had to hop into it every single day, so practicality wise it wasn't as perfect. But you do get into the coils, so it's a lot plusher ride.
It was nice. I really liked it. It had a soft top, so I would always take it down whenever I would come home from work.
And you can make that work, obviously. It's just everyone has their own preference. I mean, it's fun to say Jeep hair is great, but going into work every day with Jeep hair doesn't really work out if you have to have that type of office environment. So TJs are great rigs to get into. If you can get a step up from the YJs, price-wise, you could probably start into that easily in the $7,000 and up range, depending on where you are and what you can find. Obviously, they can be had for less than that too, but that's about average, about $7,000 up. LJ is a variant of the TJs with the longer wheelbase. They come in the Sahara and the Rubicon versions, as well as the TJs do also. LJ is like the unicorn of the Jeep world, not in the fact that they're really hard to find, but they're in high demand. You can, resale wise, is great.
They're pretty expensive if you do find one.
Yeah, if you do find one modded up. We have a couple friends who have them, and
not even modded up, stock. They're still very expensive.
Yeah, so if you can find one for a great price, hop into an LJ, especially if you want to do wheeling, because the wheelbase is just phenomenal. TJs, LJs, great rigs. LJs, I'd give the angle towards if you're wanting to do off-roading with. You can do great in either's, but the extra wheelbase is obviously a huge plus. Plus reselling them is a little bit better. So if you can find you an LJ Sahara Rubicon, that's even more of a unicorn, and snag that sucker up if you find it for a great price. So there you go on that. Moving up from there, you get into your JKs and your JKUs. We've had both. Her first was a JK. Anything you want to say about that?
It was perfect. I loved it.
Why did you like it?
It was cute and fun.
It's true. We've had, like I said, we've had both. The last one I built was a JK. We built it for trails specifically. That's why we wanted the shorter one, because we wanted to be able to go around in different trails and not beat it to hell. Rock crawling wise, I much prefer a JKU because you can get lifted a little bit higher, and it has a little bit more. It feels a little bit more planted as you get into more wonky situations. And I just like being able to flex those out a little bit more. You can do it with the JK, but I like to do low center of gravity builds if I am going to do a JK, just because that way you keep it lower since it does have a shorter wheelbase. The wheelbase on the JKU is great when you lift them up too. So my all-time favorite about over any of those would be the JKU on 37s with about a 3.5 inch lift. That'll get you pretty much anywhere you want to go on the rocks and everything. Obviously, you can take any of these on any trail version. So if it really depends on what you want to do with your rig at the end of the day. I preferred the JKU over the JK just because I wanted to sleep in it, I wanted to rock crawl with it, and I wanted to have a little bit more flexibility with it. So that's why I like the JKU. The JK is perfect if you don't have the need for the interior space, or you're not really going to be lifting it up super tall. You don't want to go higher. Well, anyone can do whatever they want to, but I mean, I've seen some JKs on a 6-inch lift and stuff, and it gets a little ridiculous.
It's a little sketchy.
Yeah, unless you stretch those out. So it's all personal preference as far as that goes. The last one I want to bring up is the XJ. If you are looking for just a budget Jeep to get into, where you can just mod it out and do a lot of stuff without having to just spend a shit ton of money on, XJ is by all means one of the greatest platforms you can get into. And by that I mean it's the Cherokees. They come in different models and variants. We had a 2-door that we built. It's the only one that I've ever had personally, but price per value, that one hands down. I was able to do so much with that rig, and its wheelbase was just phenomenal. So rocking that off-road, rock crawling and everything, XJ was great. If I had to pick one vehicle on a budget, I would buy an XJ and just beat it to hell. When it exploded, I'd rip everything off of that and put it on another XJ and continuously do that over and over and over again and not feel bad about it at all. On the flip side of that, when you are looking for an XJ, you either have really nice ones or just beat to hell ones. So you kind of have to find those diamonds in the roughs. But great rig if you're just wanting to have just something on a trail that you can beat up and not worry about too much. People do that with Wranglers all the time too, so that's preference. So any opinions on all the Jeeps we've had, or any input on what we've mentioned so far? No? What was your favorite?
The white JK was my favorite. The white JKU.
That one was really dialed in. We were able to do a lot with that. I'd have to agree. So JKU so far have been my absolute favorite, and the red two-door XJ we built is my second favorite by all means, just because of the capabilities of the white JKU and the price per value of the XJ. So those would be my top two picks for what we've done.
Well, my black JK was my favorite because I think it was my first purchase, like my first car that I actually bought, or vehicle that I actually bought, and I loved it.
So there you go. Whatever you decide, just make it work for you. A lot of people are always like, well, which one should I get? What should I do? It really just depends on what you want to do with it. I know everyone hates that answer, but I've hoped we've broken that down enough to make you kind of understand which way you want to go. So CJ, CJ5, CJ7, it's perfect for your collectors, and I'm going to be very blunt here. So there's a lot of anomalies and everything you go for, but if you're a collector and you want something that you can collect, go with a CJ5 or CJ7. If you want to get into a Wrangler for a little bit less money, then a YJ is probably a good option for you, especially for the price that you can get into. If you can afford a little bit more than a YJ, then by all means get a TJ. Great capabilities and great setups. If you can afford a little bit more than that and you can find one, pick up an LJ. If you want to buy something new in finance, then you just have to pick between the JK and the JKU, and that really depends on what you want to do with it. If you want to take it down tight trails and daily drive it and you don't have a lot of need for your interior, get a JK. If you have more need for interior and you want to rock crawl it or go on longer trips, then a JKU is perfect. Obviously you can tow a trailer and do it in both, but I would always lean towards a JKU it doesn't hurt to have a little bit more space if you're not worried about getting it beat up or anything like that. So that's the direction I would leave. Everyone's always like, should I get a 2.5 or a 6-cylinder? If you can afford the 6, just get it. If you find a great steal on a 4-cylinder, get the 4-cylinder. That's how I would lean with that, and then same with the JKU versus JK. If I could get the JKU for the same price, I'd get a JKU. So there you go on that. Top two favorites, obviously the JKU white one we had, just the way it was built, and our XJ, just because of price for value, that was the best one that I had. So if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments below. I can help you out as best I can anyways, and help you steer one way or the other. Or if you just have questions about your rig and want to help in modding it, or have any questions on what its capabilities are, let me know also. You can hit us up on Instagram or here in the comment section of YouTube. I hope you guys enjoyed that. We're going to have more videos about our excursion that's coming up in
10 days.
In 10 days to New Mexico, Moab, or Utah, and Colorado. So we have a couple more supplies we picked up. We've got our stove, we got a tent, and we got our cooler now. I think the last thing we're debating on now is onboard air versus portable air, and I'm leaning towards portable air systems. Hopefully you guys can help me out with that, but I really think we're going to do portable air because I want to be able to take my air from one vehicle to another if I need to. So just get a compressor and make that work. So that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. But follow along, subscribe, and I really appreciate it. As always, I will see you on the flip side. Shay, got anything for them?
I have nothing today.
She has nothing except an empty bag of Oreos sitting on a table.
Peanut butter Oreos. We are watching What the Health tonight.
Oh.
We'll see how that goes.
Alright.
I like junk food and donuts.
Alright guys, thank you again. I really appreciate everyone who's watching these videos and helping us out as we go along, and hopefully we help other people out too. So if you got products you want us to test out, let us know. We like doing that. We enjoy doing that. I have a product that we're about to test out. It is a battery starter, so I'll have more information on that coming soon. I'm trying to figure out a day when I can just let my battery go completely dead to test this out, and we'll go from there. So more things, because we're bringing that on our trip also. I will see you on the flip side, and hope you guys have a great week.